seek want to help you.
When those signs hit you, you instantly know something ancient and huge is trying to connect. She's not talking out loud, she's reaching right into your head. That strange broken sound makes it clear that this thing is different. This one-way mind link is our first big clue about her power. But when you finally meet her, the vibe changes. She stops whispering and gets direct emotional and starts the real deep thinking questions.
Are you here to play? We are curious whether you swim with the current or fight against it as they did. My young need to hatch, to play outside this place.
Listen to the language here, saying we and my young group. This isn't just about her survival. She's inviting you to be part of something bigger, asking if you will swim with the flow or fight it like the architects who totally failed. Moreover, once you prep the enzymes, the deal is basically done. Her language turns to trust and thanks, followed by the ultimate peaceful acceptance.
The passage you have opened, my young can leave this place. But first they must feel the time is right and break free of their shells. To you, I give the secret willingly.
She emphasizes that she gave the secret willingly, a huge middle finger to the architects. But wait, she knows this is the end. The line
Their freedom is my end.
confirms her sacrifice. She's at peace, talking about being an ocean current and seeds to a new land. She's reminding us that her life is over, but the world keeps spinning. Finally, as you blast off the planet, she sends her last thought, super deep and spiritual, to tie your story to hers.
What is a wave without the ocean? A beginning without an end. We are different, but we go together.
That line is the ultimate theme of the whole game. It connects your survival with her sacrifice, proving that even when things end, you are not alone. Okay, so the quotes prove she is incredibly wise and powerful. But how does she actually talk to us? Here's the crazy part. Every single piece of lore we just heard relies on the fact that her telepathy is real. Yet every week I see people claiming her mind link is caused by the enzyme 42 itself. This is the biggest, most frustrating myth in the fandom. And the next section completely destroy it using her own words. Alright, let's kill the myth and look at the facts. First, we need to talk about the power itself. The mind link is a natural biological ability unique to the sea emperor's species. It lets her speak right into your mind.
I am what you seek, want to help you.
No words, no gadget, just pure thoughts and feelings. This is the biggest takeaway. It's an old natural gift built right into her biology. Now we have to tackle the two biggest myths that annoy every lore hunter. Myth 1, it's the enzyme. This is everywhere. People think the mind link is caused by the enzyme 42. Set the record straight. Enzyme 42 is just a stomach chemical that cures the disease. It does nothing for talking. They are totally separate things. Myth 2, it's alien tech. Now for the architects, they were obsessed with this power, but they failed to copy it. Their own logs show they could only sense the brain signals, but they could never use the power. The Emperor confirms it.
I asked them for this freedom, but they could not hear me.
This proves it is purely her own unique biological power. So if she's so powerful, why are you the only one hearing her? The most logical guess is simple. She picks you. She is strong enough to aim her mind signal right at you, choosing you as the only capable person nearby who can actually complete her mission. Now here's the mind bender. If the Sea Emperor is a massive alien, why do we hear her talking in perfect English? She projects pure ideas and deep feelings right into your brain. Concepts like comfort, grief, or ancient knowledge, not actual speech. The reason you hear clear English is that your brain automatically translates those raw psychic signals. And this translation trick is the key to the ultimate debate. Does the gentle, comforting nature of her voice prove she is purely kind, a benevolent mother figure helping a child, or is it a subtle form of strategy? Is she a savvy, ancient being using the most comforting tones possible to secure the one thing she desperately needs, your help to hatch her eggs? To answer that central questions, kindness or strategy, we have to look at the only other species she ever dealt with, the architects. They failed not because they lacked power, but because one critical flaw. Next, we are going to show how their arrogance proved whether her soft voice was manipulative brilliance or desperate necessity.
When the Sea Emperor talks about becoming an ocean current or a creature so small, she is giving us a direct look at her beliefs. This isn't just about dying, this is direct evidence for theories that suggest she believed in transformation after death, that a life force or essence will return to the planet in a new form. This is the rebirth theory right from the source. Her final reflection on waves, ocean beginnings, and ends aren't just pretty words either, they are philosophical challenge, pushing you to think past your immediate survival and consider huge concepts like mortality and how all life is interconnected in the ecosystem. Ultimately, let's understand the message as they start small and vague. When you hit major story milestone like trying to disable the quarantine enforcement platform, her clear statement about her sacrifice and death only occur after the eggs hatch and her children have left. She finishes her mission, then she goes. Finally, her absolute last message is delivered right when you launch the Neptune escape rocket.
We are different, but we go together.
Perfectly concluding your shared journey and leaving you with those massive philosophical questions. Her total focus on the well-being of her young, the successful hatching and producing the pure confirms she is the ultimate guardian of the planet's ecosystem. Every single word the Sea Emperor speaks is loaded with meaning. But remember, the central question we introduced was her gentle voice, an act of kindness or an act of strategy. We now know the timing of her dialogue is perfect, a carefully controlled arc that puts her needs first. The next step is to use this knowledge of her perfect pacing to argue whether she was a benevolent savior or a cold calculated chess master.
This is the argument that she is a saint. The evidence is powerful. The Sea Emperor isn't just a story guide. She is the moral and emotional core of Subnautica. Her actions, from centuries of being locked up to her very last breath, build a powerful case for her being a purely kind, protective mother figure and the true guardian of the planet. Let's be real, her whole life is defined by her absolute willingness to sacrifice herself. She was locked up for thousands of years by the architects, not for something she did, but because she held the key to the cure. Despite that suffering, she never shows anger or wants revenge. Her final act is dedicated entirely to securing her children's freedom, using her final strength to guide them to safety. Her last words prove this sacrifice was a conscious choice, not just a biological urge.
What will it be like, I wonder, to go to sleep and never wake up?
She knows she is done. She is accepting, peaceful, and totally fulfilled, having secured the freedom of her children. Though her kindness extends far beyond her own kids, proving true selflessness. She is the only source of enzyme 42, the only known cure. Even while captive, she secretly trained the tiny peepers to spread small amount of the enzyme through the vent, slowing the infection all across the world. And look at what she tells you.
If you help us, I will give you freely what the others tried in vain to take.
This unconditional gift of the cure given to a species, humans, shows her motivation is purely to heal the world. Although the gentle, comforting nature of her mind link immediately sets her up as a mentor. Her messages are wise, thoughtful, and nurturing.
They are different, but they go together.
This guidance helps you understand the huge stakes, aligning her with every good mother figure you see in stories. This evidence, the sacrifice, the unconditional gifts, the peaceful tone is undeniable proof of her love for the planet. We left off asking if the Sea Emperor was a savior or a strategist. No matter her motive, her death wasn't just old age or a passive surrender. It was the ultimate strategic sacrifice. This wasn't a tragedy, it was a victory. And here is the evidence why. At over 1600 years old in captivity, her body was simply breaking down. Her version of enzyme 42 was weak, only capable to slow the disease, not cure it. For the cure mission, she was biologically obsolete, so she made a brilliant final choice. She used her last burst of energy to communicate the hatching recipe and push her young out. Her final words confirmed that this was an active decision to spend her life for a better outcome.
Their freedom is my end.
She solved the main problem that the galaxy's smartest race couldn't. The architect failed because they lacked empathy. They just saw her as a sample.
They could not hear me.
You rarely succeeded because you listened and cooperated. The old weak aliens saved the planet through talking and teamwork. The super advanced tech race failed through cold research. Her life ended with a win, not a sad collapse. However, the heartbreaking truth is that Kara killed the Emperor's species, even though the Emperors themselves were immune to the disease. Yet Kara didn't kill them directly, it killed their food. The disease wiped out the tiny organisms throughout the ocean. Since sea emperors are filter feeder and depend on those tiny things, their entire food source was gone. A species of 160-meter long leviathans died out not from the pandemic but from the collapse of the microscopic ecosystem they relied on. As the population crashed, the architects made a critical, desperate mistake. They grabbed the last adult and her clutch of eggs. The trap. The containment facility kept the adult alive, but the deep trial water was totally wrong for the eggs, causing them to just stop growing. The mute Ilie. The Emperor was yelling at the architects telepathically, trying to explain the problem, but they lacked the biological ability to hear a word. Imagine being the last of your kind, watching your children die in stasis, and being completely unable to explain how to save them. The ultimate irony is that the species that had a permanent cure was driven to extinction by the very people trying to harvest that cure. This entire tragedy, from the Emperor's death to the extinction of our species, was caused by the architect's single most arrogant failure. They were masters of technology, but ethical infants. We covered everything, but the entire story hinged on one single final moment, the handshake between an infected human and an ancient imprisoned creature. The Sea Emperor, locked up for 1,000 years, finally achieved her deepest purpose, hatching her young. Because Raleigh gave her the missing piece, in return she released a powerful enzyme 42 that instantly cured him and unlocked his freedom. She then passed on fulfilled. This raises the most profound question in all of Subnautica's lore. Was her final word-saying act an expression of conscious, benevolent grace? Did she actively choose to save Raleigh after recognizing his unique capacity for empathy? Or was Raleigh simply the tool, the last desperate variable that allowed her to fulfill a 1,000-year biological need? In that case, Raleigh's cure and freedom were just a secondary consequence of her species' survival, a happy accident. Let me know what you think in the comments below.